Hi everyone, welcome to a quick tutorial video. I've just decided to share a little bit of knowledge that I've recently learnt myself. It's very quick and easy, and it basically involves ironing out a few creases, and it's definitely something that came useful to myself recently. So I'm just hoping that this knowledge will be hopefully useful to other photographers out there, professional or just the people that are just using it as a passion or a hobby themselves. It would definitely come in handy. At the end of the day, we're always learning something new, and this is definitely something new for me. So this is a very easy thing to do. It's just all about just a bit of TLC, a bit of care and attention. That's all. At some point in this, where basically the fun will begin. So this photo has already been very slightly edited in Lightroom. So this is the photo I taken at a recent wedding photography workshop I was at, just for some additional training. So this bride in particular, she's not a real bride, she's just a model, modelling as a bride. So it didn't really matter too much about the creases being in her dress. She was just part of the practical part of the course on the day. So basically just someone that we could use as a subject basically. So like I say, it's a very quick and easy technique. So anyone that's already sort of clued up with Photoshop, I'm hoping it'll be sort of a walk in the park for you really. But anyone that's not really that well known with Photoshop, if you're quite new to it and you're learning, this shouldn't be too hard for you either. So like I say, this photo has already been edited, so we don't need to adjust it any other way other than we're just going to concentrate on her clothes basically. We're just going to edit all of these creases out. So first of all, we're going to take a look around here. This is the background, so obviously this is the original layer for the original photo. We need to create a couple of layers of this, so we basically need to duplicate a couple of layers. So we can go up to layer and click on duplicate layer, but we need to do two. So the quickest way of doing this is keeping your finger on either command or control and then press J. So we need to have two, so press J twice while we're keeping our finger on control or command. This technique is basically, it's called frequency separation. So basically the two frequencies will be high and low frequency. So these will be to do with the two layers that we've created. So one would be for low, one will be for high. And to save confusion with anyone, including myself, we're going to rename these. So this will be for the low frequency, and this layer will be for the high frequency. Oh, don't need that. Yeah, so for now, I'm going to hide. You can't see the difference, so I'm going to hide the high frequency layer because we're not going to be doing anything to that one just yet. So while we're on the low frequency layer now, we're going to go to filter, scroll down to blur, and then scroll down to Gaussian blur. And as you can see here, this is already zoomed in on a rough area. You can see this has already added the blur to it, but we're going to zoom in on around the area where the creases are more noticeable. So as you can see, I've gone all the way down because just wanted to show you the difference. So this has obviously gone way down, so there's nothing applied to that image really at all. If I was to go to roughly around this, you can tell that's just way too much. We need to basically get to a point with the blur that makes it just enough where the creases have only just started to fade. So you can still see them very slightly there. So usually between 10 and 15 is enough, but it's all down to the image at the end of the day. It depends how many creases you've got to do. I'm going to, I think I'm going to put that around about 12. Yeah, I think that'll be enough. So we're going to apply that to that layer. And now we're going to click on the high frequency layer and we'll make that visible again now. So while we're on this layer now, we're going to go to image, scroll down to apply image, and now you'll see the layers have merged. So all of these layers have merged. So basically this is what it looks like now. We don't want it to be like this at all. So we're going to click on this, and as you can see, these are all the layers I have there at the minute. While we're on the high frequency layer, we need it to merge with the low frequency layer. And again, the colors aren't right at the minute, so what we need to be doing here now is where we need to blend it, it says multiply, we need to subtract the layers with each other. And before you apply that, you need to just make sure your scale is around about 2 and offset's about 128. This does make a lot of difference just with the details and everything. So we will press OK for that. At the minute, you know, that does look a bit strange, but this isn't going to stay like that. So to make it look back to normal again, we will click on this and go down to linear light. So now basically it looks just the same as the original photo now. So to basically merge these two layers together, we need them to both be apart as a group. So to do this, you again keep your finger on either Control or Command, and then click on low to make sure both of these are highlighted. And then while we're still doing that, we're going to go down to create a new group, and while that's on the group, we will click back on high, and this is where we will merge the high frequency photo with the low frequency photo. So we're going to go over to the brush. We don't want to use the normal brush tool, we want to go to the mixer brush tool. This makes a hell of a lot of difference, so just make sure you double check in there. And also, word of advice, make sure that it's on transparent, because if it's all on colour, then, I mean, that's on white at the minute, but we don't want that at all. We want this one to be off, and only that one there. So basically we've got the transparent, so the brush isn't applying any paint basically. So I'm going to go zoom into the area where I'm going to start first. The brush is a bit big at the minute, so I think this should be big enough. So this is where you need to be careful. First of all, I'll show you how not to do it. Don't go across, because it just looks a mess. You need to follow the lines of where the creases are going. So this is where it doesn't take too long, but just a little bit of care and attention is all that's needed. So again, don't go too fast, don't go too crazy with it. Just push. You can go up and down, it depends how confident you are, but I always like to start from the top, work my way down to the bottom. Again, you can see how that's making a difference now. It doesn't do it straight away, so you do have to give it a few strokes here and there. There we go, that wasn't too bad there. See what I mean? Now you have to take your time with it, you have to look at what you're doing. You know, it's so easy, but again, it's so easy to make mistakes as well. So that's why it's, you know, taking your time makes a lot of difference, so you're not overcomplicating things. So just a bit of crease down here as well. And then I think that should be about that for there. Just do that bit there. And then a little few creases here and there as well. Don't need to go too mad, and the more you do, the more it'll be noticeable really. So we only need to do it where it's really noticeable, unless you're really picky. Okay, so I think that should do. I might just have a little in here, basically even out the blur there. So I'm not going to move the brush, I'm just going to give it a couple of clicks. Right, now I'm going to zoom out. And again, depends on how picky you are. I think that looks okay, but if you wanted to just sort of make it so it wasn't so harsh with the blur, you can just bring down the opposite down there, around about. I mean, if I brought it all the way down, you can see that's not made any difference. It's just got rid of the whole layer altogether. So if we were to bring it down to about 90, then I think that's good. So this is before and this is after. So I think that's basically it. Like I say, it's a very quick and easy, straightforward technique. Just play around with it. If you're quite new to it, or even if you're not as well, just play around with it. I mean, this isn't an image I had to sell, so I was able to just go a little bit crazy with it, basically. I mean, for me, I'd like to do a bit more to that. So let's just do a little bit more there. So you see, as I'm going along, I'm not going too mad, but there was a few bits here and there. I'm very picky, so that seems a bit better to me now. So like I say, if I went across, it just doesn't look right at all. So I think that should do. So there you have it then. So here's a little technique that like I say, I've used recently, and it made such a difference. I would always be looking, instead of a face, the actual photo itself, it would just be the creases I'm staring at. So it's definitely worth doing. I'm hoping this becomes useful for anyone else as well. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'm hoping to share some more knowledge with you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.